How does someone go from being homeless to owning several luxury homes and running billion-dollar companies? If you're going some difficulties in life now, this video is a must-watch for you. Be inspired by the life of John Paul DeJoria, who after so many challenges eventually became a billionaire. In this video, we'll explore how he made it through life with grit, hard work, and sheer willpower. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the bell button so you won't miss any of our videos. In his early years, John Paul faced a difficult life. Growing up in East LA, his single mother struggled to provide for them. Despite their difficult situation, he was determined to build a better life for himself. He began by making flower boxes at a local workshop, buying them for 25 cents each and selling them for 50 cents. His mother was proud of his efforts, but she knew it wasn't enough. Unable to provide enough food, she had to place him in foster care when he was just 7 years old. Missing home deeply, he sought out work. John Paul would rise at 3 a.m. each day to sell newspapers and Christmas cards around the neighborhood. Despite his hard work, they remained very poor, but his mother always reminded him to help others in similar situations. He shared a memory from Christmas when his mother instructed him and his brother to give a dime to a man ringing a bell for charity. When they questioned why they were giving such a small amount, their mother explained that even if they didn't have much, there were always others with less. She emphasized that it's important to give what you can, no matter how small, because it helps others in need. This lesson stayed with him. Growing up poor in LA, John Paul knew he had to do more than just sell newspapers and flower boxes. He thought about joining a street gang. The gang was involved in violence, using knives to intimidate and rob people in their neighborhood. But the gang life wasn't helping him. He needed something to steer him in a better direction, and his teacher provided that. One day in math class, after he was messing around, his teacher told him he would never succeed in life. That comment deeply affected him and gave him the drive to prove his teacher wrong. This is when John realized that school wasn't the right path for him and that he needed to find something else. Just before graduation, a Navy recruiter visited his high school, and John saw this as his chance to make a change. He hoped to find a sense of belonging in the Navy and get a steady and legal job. After 2 years, he left the Navy with honor to explore a new field, sales, which he discovered he was good at. However, just as he was finding his way, his personal life started falling apart. At 19, he had quickly married and had a son. Like many young couples, their marriage was struggling. One day, after coming home from work, his wife asked for his car keys, saying she needed to go to the store. Instead, she used that opportunity to leave him and their son for good. She left a note explaining that she couldn't continue with their situation. It turned out that for the past 3 months, his wife had been secretly saving the rent and utility money, leading to their impending eviction the next day. Things got even tougher for John when he was fired from his job. Despite feeling overwhelmed and devastated, he resolved to find a way out. Luckily, a neighbor offered him a car to use as a temporary home. Still, John and his child were left without a permanent place to stay. To survive, he began collecting and selling soda cans for a small amount of money. After 2 weeks, a friend offered them a spare room. He worked hard at various jobs, including working at a gas station. He also started his sales career by selling encyclopedias. He started by going door to door, earning only from the sales he made. He didn't make his first sale until he had knocked on over 100 doors. While most people gave up within 3 days, he pushed through the rejections for 3.5 years. He was incredibly persistent, moving from selling books to selling copy machines, insurance, and office equipment. His drive to become a top salesman helped him enter the industry that eventually made him a billionaire. A few years later, John landed a job at Time magazine, where he sold subscriptions to magazines like Sports Illustrated and Fortune. Eager to become a top executive, he asked his boss how he could become vice president. The boss laughed and said that if John stayed with the company for 9 more years, they might think about promoting him. He felt this was unfair and knew he was worth more. He shared his ambitions with everyone he knew, and a friend recommended a better opportunity: a sales role at Redken, a company that makes beauty products. He quickly advanced as national manager at Redken. When he discovered that the company was conducting harmful tests on animals, he raised his concerns. Instead of addressing the issue, Redken dismissed him from his job. Fortunately, John soon bounced back and secured a management position at Firmadale, where he managed to increase profits by 50%. Unfortunately, he was let go again because he didn't fit in with the company's culture. Despite this setback, he continued to find success with other companies, refining his skills in business and marketing, and eventually became a top expert in the hair industry. At a hairdressing convention, John met Paul Mitchell, who quickly saw John's talent in business and marketing. Paul Mitchell, a leading hairdresser and product developer, was impressed by John's abilities. They decided to join forces with a bold goal: to build the top hair care company, which they named John Paul Mitchell Systems. After putting in long hours on their business idea, they pitched it to a European investor and got a $500,000 loan. Excited about the money, John gave his house and remaining savings to his wife, even though they were about to split up. This turned out to be a big mistake because the loan was no longer available when he went to get it. He was left with no money, no home, and only his car. Despite this, he had a plan to start the company with very little upfront money. He borrowed $350 from his mom, and Paul Mitchell matched that amount. With $700, they began to set up their business. Their first job was to get the products made, like the formulas and bottles. Usually, this would be really expensive, but manufacturers often provide free samples. John and Paul could get up to 10,000 full-size bottles for free if they showed they were a legitimate business and promised to order more in the future. John took advantage of this by promising to buy over 100,000 units later, but they still needed a brand logo, which they couldn't get for free. So they used their entire $700 to hire someone to design it. Without money for ads, they decided to give free samples to hair salons. They also offered a commission to hairdressers for every sale they made. This was a smart move for the 1980s. John offered a deal to salons. If a salon agreed to buy 24 bottles of shampoo, he would come to the salon, place a bottle at each station, and train the staff on how to present it to customers. He also promised a guarantee. If the salon didn't find the product to be the best they had ever used within 30 days, he would return, take back any unused bottles, and refund their money. John Paul Mitchell Systems was one of the first in the industry to offer such a guarantee, and it worked really well. The combination of their great products and John's smart sales strategy made them successful, leading to a full-time partnership with distributors. John's risk paid off. They became pioneers by stopping animal testing and made it a key part of their company values. They also discovered a plant called awapuhi, which had great benefits for hair and skin, and started using green energy, setting new trends in the industry. By 1985, the company was pulling in over $100 million in sales and was steadily expanding. However, in 1989, Paul Mitchell was diagnosed with cancer and sadly died not long after. John Paul DeJoria took on the role of running the company on his own, and his past experiences with overcoming difficulties prepared him well for the challenge. He led the company to even greater achievements while also giving back to the community. John set up Paul Mitchell schools to train aspiring hairdressers, offered scholarships to those who needed financial help, and started a program to plant a tree for every product sold from their tea tree line. He also made a mark by becoming the first hair brand to sponsor the Olympics. Thanks to all the positive media coverage and his exceptional sales skills, John secured over 30 distributors who helped get his products into thousands of salons. This success led the company to achieve a remarkable $1 billion in annual sales. He celebrated this milestone by making sure those around him benefited from his success. He firmly believed that true success is when it's shared, and helping those in need became a major focus for him. He also contributed millions to fight homelessness. He provided food for the homeless and support an entrepreneurial center to help aspiring business owners. John's ambition didn't end there. After growing one successful company, he moved on to a new project and founded Patron Tequila. In 2018, he sold Patron for $5.1 billion. With his increased wealth, he bought a $50 million mansion in Malibu, 9 luxury cars, and a private jet. After all he's accomplished, John felt he deserved to enjoy the fruits of his success. He often says, if things aren't okay, it just means it's not the end. And that's the inspiring life of John Paul DeJoria. What do you think is his secret to his success? Feel free to share your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification button to stay updated on the latest.